Tuesday, July 26th. Alright, today you are to read 2 Kings chapters 9 through 10, Psalm 49, and Matthew 7. Now, in chapter 9, the first part, Elisha sends a young prophet to anoint Jehu king over Israel. And when this prophet goes, he takes Jehu somewhere private to anoint him and gives this message from God saying he'll use Jehu to enact vengeance on the whole house of Ahab and Jezebel, saying, I will avenge the blood of my servants. And after saying this, he ran, which I don't blame him, it's kind of intense. And the people who were with Jehu before, they thought this prophet was a maniac until Jehu said what happened, and they immediately followed suit, treating him as the rightful king. So what follows in the rest of chapter 9 and chapter 10 is actually quite a lot of death. And I'm sure reading passages like these can be uncomfortable, especially when it's graphic in the text. But we trust that our God is righteous and he is just, the best judge there could ever be. And the wrath he decided to release on these people, the house of Ahab and Jezebel and others, is exactly what needed to happen in this case, and it was fulfilled according to the word of the Lord. Now, jumping over to Psalm 49, this kind of builds a bridge into more positive thinking, and you can see some foreshadowing of what Jesus does for us. And I want to read part of it as is from the NIV, verses 12 through 15. People, despite their wealth, do not endure. They are like the beasts that perish. This is the fate of those who trust in themselves, and of their followers who approve their sayings. They are like sheep and are destined to die. Death will be their shepherd, but the upright will prevail over them in the morning. Their forms will decay in the grave, far from their princely mansions. But God will redeem me from the realm of the dead. He will surely take me to himself. And praise God that Jesus has enabled that by his work, as the Gospels tell us. So, over in Matthew 7, Jesus is talking about how we should not judge others because there's plenty in our own lives that deserves harsh judgment, but God gives us grace. And it's his place to judge. And he even says here, ask and it will be given to you. This just goes to show more grace. See, when you're aligned with God and what he wants and his goodwill for your life, he's overjoyed to provide for you. But not everyone who claims to speak and act in his name is truthful. So Jesus warns his people of false prophets and false disciples, likening them to a foolish man who builds his house on the sand, and it's wiped out when the rain and floods come. Jesus says those who hear his word and do what it says are wise, and they'll bear good fruit. And he speaks all of this with true authority. Now, that wraps up our reading for today, but if you felt convicted through these accounts of God's judgment, or if you worry about possible false teachings you've encountered, I want to challenge you to seek out your next steps to move closer to Christ and away from all that bad stuff. You can reach out to us online with questions, and we'd love to talk with you. In fact, with a sermon series coming up called On Demand, you can send in any questions you may have about God and faith and how to reconcile some things you may be confused about. And Adam and the team here, we will make it our mission to make sure every question is answered one way or another. So friends, I hope you have a great week. I hope that God blesses you as you go to do everything in word and deed for him. And until we see you again, you are sent.